course I'm not at the top of my page like I should be. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Episode 10 of the Turn Left podcast. We are here. There's a new baby here. New baby James. That's right, I got a son now. It's pretty cool. Not really gotten used to it yet. We're still having trouble saying she instead of he and so on and so forth. But either way, it's exciting. He's actually a sleeper. Unlike my daughter was, she didn't sleep but maybe 45 minutes a day. You know, this little guy sleeps just like his mom, probably 16 hours a day or something like that. It's insane. So, hell yeah to that. Thank God. And I lost track of my notes. I looked away for a second. But yeah, not used to it. Either way, let's get into it. Going on airplane mode now. I'm a little bit behind. We've got I'll introduce him in a bit. I've got a backup producer tonight. Like I said, we'll introduce him in a bit. Awesome guy. Here we go. Episode 10. What is up, everybody? We are back. Y'all wasn't sure if I'd be here, were you? Yeah, I'm here. I wasn't sure if I'd be here either, actually, to be honest with you. But we're here. We got to entertain the people, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
We've got to entertain the people.
And
this show is just peaking at all times. We're just going higher and higher. We can't stop. Can't stop now. Never will stop. Maybe something really serious happens, we'll stop. But either way, we are back. Like I said, we got a new producer in the house for now, Steve. Slapshot Steve. He's a hockey player. I wanted to give him a better intro, but like I said, we're running behind, and I couldn't think of anything better. There's actually a lot of other things I know about him. I just don't want to introduce him with all that stuff because it might be kind of boring to some of y'all. But he's a cool guy. Listens to podcasts. He listens to a lot of different stuff. He's actually a Redskins fan sitting in a Titans chair right now. But that's what happens to you when you come over here to the Turn Left podcast. But we thank him for being here. Everybody give a shout out to Steve. And I don't have the sound bites to be able to give crowd, so I guess got to do it with my mouth. But
thank you, everybody.
Yeah, that was everybody. I mean, it was loud.
I know.
You don't have the headphones on yet, but it's going to be loud when you get them on. This show is sponsored by Sarah K. Speed Shots. The best pictures in the market. They even got a shout out the other night from the Chet Morris Motorsports podcast. Because they even said they were talking about 5 or 6 different tracks, and they were saying Southside Speedway has got the best photographer hands down, and that's Sarah K. Speed Shots, Jennifer Allen. So shout out to her. Not sure if she's tuning in right now. Has anybody said anything I need to talk about, Steve? I forgot to even talk about you about that, too. Is anybody, chiming in or saying anything? Because I can respond. It just depends on what it is. I don't know if you can read it.
We got Connor Strug saying what's up. We got Judy Powers tuning in.
Judy Powers, what's up?
Tuning in. We got a bunch of people
Connor?
tuning in. We got about 20 people tuning in. I think
Cool.
I saw Jimmy Maxey in here.
What up, Jimmy?
And we got a few people.
Cool. I heard something the other day that was kind of interesting. I was listening to somebody talk, and they were like, oh, yeah, alcohol's bad for you, blah, blah, blah. They're like, but, in the right amounts, it's good for you. The oldest Russian lady in the world, drinks a couple glasses of wine every single day. And I remember hearing a story similar to this a couple years ago about an American woman that was over 100 years old, and she used to drink, I think it was 2 Coors Light, which is disgusting. I hate Coors Light. She used to drink 2 Coors Light every single night and drink a shot of brown liquor or something gross. I don't drink liquor at all, and she lived so old. And they're like, yeah, see, in small amounts, everything's good for you. You really think these 104-year-old ladies that are taking 2 beers and a shot every night were doing that at 30 years old? These bitches were going hard, dude. You know that.
Absolutely.
You don't pick up drinking at age 70. You know what I mean? Like, if you're still drinking at 100 and something years old, you were drinking hard back in your day. That's all I'm saying. I would hope by the time I hit 101 years old, I'd probably give it up, maybe. Maybe not. because maybe that's the ticket, kind of like what they say. But I just think it's funny. It's like, yeah, see, in moderation, that's the way to go. It's like she started drinking 3 drinks a day when she turned 86. You know what I mean? Like before that, she was going way hard in the paint every day. I bet if she's still going a little bit hard in the paint every day, is 100 and something years old.
The 20s, the 30s for them were blackout.
Oh yeah, the teenage. Oh gosh, yeah, it's just. Oh, I can't even imagine. But I just thought it was interesting that they were talking about that. They're like, oh yeah.
Did you ever hear about the one lady? She drank like 3 Dr. Peppers a day, and she lived to like 95 or something like that.
Really?
All of her doctors always told her, said, stop drinking Dr. Pepper, stop drinking all that stuff. She was like, yeah, I outlived all those doctors, so they're all dead now. But
yeah, it was kind of like the lady with the beer and the liquor. Like she literally outlived all of her doctors that kept on telling her every single time to stop doing that. And so she's like, well, I don't promote it, but this is what I've been doing, so here it is. But it's just kind of crazy when you think about it. It's like, man, who do you believe? The doctors that died before him, or this lady slamming multiple drinks every night for no reason.
Tyler Valentine wants to know if you'd ever turn right.
I would never turn right unless I go to a road course, Tyler Valentine. And actually, I do turn right a lot, but I would never take a right turn. And that's a dumb question. I want something more substance than that, Tyler Valentine. But either way, it's a man's night tonight. There's no Megan the intern in the house, no Tina, no Jesse, no none of that. It's just me and Steve. So it might get a little rowdy. Who knows? Probably not. I'm gonna try to keep it PG, but we'll get there. We're gonna get back into that.
We got the baby sleeping inside, so we got.
The babies are sleeping, so
We got Bristol in the house as well.
Bristol. So there is one female in the house. Bristol, the dog, is chilling as usual, right there behind the camera. I'm behind again on my thing. I already did the sponsors, but like I said, y'all weren't sure if I'd be here. I wasn't sure either. Shout out to Steve again for pulling through and making all this happen. Even though we do miss main producer Tina/Jesse, who created the name of this show. I mean, she's the heart and soul of the show, and half y'all probably tune in just to hear her anyway. Y'all don't even like me, so that's fine and understandable. But Steve will fill in right nice, and like I said, he listens to podcasts. He knows what's up, and he's already given what's up on the. Even though he read Tyler Valentine's comment, which I don't blame you, but I blame Tyler Valentine. And you are like I said, hockey player. Won a championship. How many years ago? Was that 2 or 3 years ago?
A couple years ago. It wasn't
Still, doesn't matter when.
It was a beer league championship, but we'll take it.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Season. We had Chad Cox on there from
semi-professional amateur.
Yeah,
just like me in the racing division. But either way, I've got a couple topics tonight that make my blood boil a little bit. I was more upset about them at the time than I am now, but I'm just saying right now, if you're young and haven't ever heard of Pirate's Mouth, you might want to turn it off. But I'm going to try to keep it PG. I'm mostly kidding. But for one thing, I've had the heat running for 9 hours out here just to keep the, garage, studio, whatever you want to call this, warm enough. What is this, May?
Oh, yeah, Steve? I think it's May. I mean,
where are all you global warming folks at? I'm just kidding about that. I know there's way more topics on the line right now with the pandemic and everything. Just haven't heard much about it, and I'm freezing my tits off out here, and it's middle of May, so I'm a little frustrated, but we'll get through it. I'm just waiting to be able to literally open up all the windows and doors and have fans and everything running. I don't know how to go with sound, but that's what I had literally going the first night that I started doing this.
I think this is our punishment for not actually having a winter, though. We didn't actually have like a really cold winter, so now winter's holding on.
All year, yeah, it seems like it. But literally, when I started doing this a couple months ago, the garage door was open, and when I hit live, I've got to walk around there. You hear the garage door shut because it was so warm out. A couple months later, we're still freezing our tits off, so it's whatever. But either way. Got a couple topics tonight. I wanted to ask you, because they just did, they're in the middle of a UFC event right now, UFC249. I've been blabbing a lot about it in the past couple podcasts, but It was supposed to be Khabib, Tony Ferguson. That washed away. Then
Khabib couldn't get out of Russia because of all the quarantine.
not only that, but then now it's his Ramadan, or it's something. He's got some religion thing that takes up a couple months for him.
Yeah.
So now it's turned into that. Not turned into that, but now it's ran into to where it's that part of the year for him. So now it's back to Ferguson Gaethje, which is awesome. It's going to be an awesome fight.
Gaethje's, I mean, he's
Like he has a background in wrestling, but knocks people out.
Oh yeah, he's got killer knockout power. Is that who you're rooting for in this fight?
That's what I'm rooting for in this fight. Yeah.
All right, so we got problems.
I'm
already.
an underdog guy, you know. I mean, they gave him the fight 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah,
so.
I mean not long, but yeah, he can do it anytime. It doesn't matter to him. But I'm excited. I think I just in from Colton Eagles. I heard that the Cowboy Cerrone Pettis fight number 2. I think Pettis beat him in the first round. They just fought again right before we went live, before I turned my stuff on airplane mode. And apparently Pettis won by decision. So Donald Cerrone now is on a 4-streak win-loss. 4-fight losing streak. Good God. Had to pry that out of me. But so that's unfortunate for him. I'm a Cowboys Cerrone fan, so that sucks. But Pettis is good. I mean, he keeps on fighting all these really good fighters.
Cowboys,
so.
He's a really good fighter, but he might be at the end of his rope.
He talked about the end of, after tonight it might be the end, but everybody was hoping he'd get a win to capitalize it out or, end it out. But I guess he might have to fight again now. What do you think? He's got the most finishes, I think, in UFC.
I mean, if these guys are medically able to fight, if the paycheck's there, yeah, why not?
And he didn't get paid as much as, even in the Conor McGregor fight, I think he got paid way less. Granted, the fight
than
didn't last
Conor?
long.
Yeah, but Conor's the draw. I mean, you show up to see Conor.
That's true. That's true. But still, yeah, he's won. I can't remember how many fights he's finished. He's still, the biggest finisher in UFC, and he's still got the record for that, I'm sure. I think he's got 50-something fights, 60-something fights. I mean, it's insane how many times. And he'll fight. Donald Cerrone's one of the guys that will fight, 2 days' notice. He does not care. But like I said, this just in. I know a lot of y'all probably don't have the UFC, pay-per-view on right now, but he has apparently lost to decision to Anthony Pettis. So that's just in. I'm looking forward to the Tony Ferguson Gaethje fight. I'm rooting for Ferguson just because I want to see Ferguson Khabib still, and if Gaethje wins, and it's gonna kind of put a stick in the mud for that. And
I do think Ferguson is probably the better fighter, and I mean most people think he's going to come out on top. But I mean,
Gaethje could come out and upset things and kind of mix everything up in that division.
Yeah, it's just this is what I was talking to, I think, Colton last night about. It was just if Gaethje beats Tony Ferguson, then has the interim belt to go fight Khabib, Dustin Poirier already beat Gaethje. Technically, that's one of his only 2 losses, and then he went to go fight Khabib and lost. Put up a good fight, but still, it's now he's got the interim belt, even though he already got beat by the guy that had the interim belt before. He lost it, but he didn't lose to anybody below him. He just lost it because he lost to the actual champ. It's weird the way they do their belts. They got an interim belt and then a true belt.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked up, but either way, UFC Fight Night. Looking forward to that. I might even I don't know what time it is now. We're only 15, 20 minutes in. In 20 or 30 minutes before we end this bad boy out, I might get you to Google just to see if there's any stats on if anything's happened since we started this podcast.
I'll
but anyway,
keep an eye on it.
Yeah, that's not. I was just excited about the fact that there is finally a sporting event on, something to talk about. Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell from Arkansas.
I mean, thank you to Dana White for that. I mean, Dana, took a lot of heat for just doing this event.
He took a lot of heat from me a couple episodes ago because he put on this event and then canceled it because the governor kind of canceled it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you are right, and like I said, I gave him some heat myself because I was pissed off about the sloppy work from him as far as setting it up or finding a new fighter or replacement, setting it all up, getting a island that he said was going to be called Fight Island, which he did get apparently, but then he was going to do it in California anyway, and the governor said no, and ESPN said no, and it was all right at the last minute. It's like, how did you not already know that was going to happen? But who knows? I'm just, some guy. So either way, it was still sloppy and shitty in my opinion. But there was like I said, a couple of topics make my blood boil. Well, a couple things. When we were in the hospital, a couple things.
So we
Bothered
got
me.
Andrew Fuller saying NASCAR comes back next week and Dominion opens up along with Ace and Hickory Speedway.
I'm excited for NASCAR opening back up. I can't wait. I mean, I've been talking a little bit about iRacing and stuff, but it's just I don't keep up with as much as I should, and it doesn't take up so much time. I feel like a long race with actual, pit road type stuff. Who knows? It's just there's a lot more to talk about. So I'm excited for that getting back for one, and that's why I was talking a little bit more about UFC because that's really the only thing going on right now. So once Dominion opens up, that'll give me a couple things to talk about. But that's not really my home track, so I don't know too much about it as much as I should. But I still keep up with it enough to where I think I could probably talk about it and not hopefully offend anybody. But we'll go with it as we go. So it just depends on how good the racing is at Dominion. Sometimes
I mean, are those going to be like open public events?
Yeah. Next week? Yeah. Well, that's another thing I saw on Facebook today. It's like, are y'all going to support these tracks when they open up? So
I have no problem with anybody opening up as far as that goes.
I don't either, but I could imagine and I guess would understand that a lot of people do. But I think that most of the people have, kind of turned the stone and they're ready to get back to it. And I think there'll be a big turnout. It's just like UFC right now. I think that there's probably a lot of people buying the pay-per-view right now because they've been waiting for anything. There's not basketball, there's not football, there's nothing. Just everybody just wants to watch something. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I guess we'll see. We'll see next weekend when NASCAR opens up. We'll see how the stands look. We'll see how the local stands look at, New Dominion. Hopefully we'll hear something from Southside Speedway. Got their koozie tonight to try to do a little bit of calling them out because haven't heard nothing. And it's just kind of frustrating. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff to do anyway. I'm not even running a full season regardless before this all happened, but not even for me, but for the other guys, you need to let them know. I don't pay for my own stuff. I don't plan on even making the whole race, but not only that, but for my sponsors, we kind of need to know what's up. That way I can plan and go from there and see what we're going to do. And my brother's sponsors, everybody's sponsors, not even just us. Like I said, really just all the other drivers. They already had sponsors set up and put a lot of money into their car over the winter. You need to at least, I don't know, tell them we're waiting to make a decision. Just put out something because there's a lot of money and a lot of sponsorship just sitting, waiting. And a lot of local tracks, pretty much all of them have come out and at least said something or reopened or said their opening date. So we need to hear something. I know you're always last to put out the word, but it doesn't always have to be like that. It's up to y'all. Sorry. Just went ham on y'all, but I think you need it. I think
Johnny Luck would rather watch them race Wreckfest than iRacing. It would be more exciting, he says.
Yeah, I mean, I can get down with iRacing. It's just I think that depends on the track, like, oh, Daytona iRacing sucks. Daytona real racing sucks. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, there's not anything fun about watching it. I mean, not to criticize the Daytona 500, the Great American Race and all that, but it's just not for me. I like Martinsville. I like Richmond. I like Dover. I like New Hampshire. I like Sonoma. I like the road courses, all of them. Watkins Glen, now the new, Roval. I like all of them a lot, but Daytona, I know, I'm not trying to say it's easy doing all the drafting, everything. I've never even done it. But, you got people like Trevor Bayne winning races, and that's all I got to say. So you get some random winners at those, plate tracks for a reason.
I mean, once you get to that level, there's intricacies to it that, that you don't even know until you're sitting in that car going.
Yeah, and it's just the difference between driver and car at a plate track and not only that, but like I said, the drafting is also a lot harder than a lot of people. That's why some people are terrible at it, and that's why some people like Denny Hamlin are really good at it. And I could be terrible at it. It's just as far as from a watching standpoint, I'd rather see personally, bumping and grinding and racing and brakes. You having to use the brakes, slow down and speed up because it just makes for better racing. In my opinion, I don't know. It's just there's not just a, really boring race and then you're waiting for one big wreck that takes out half the field. You got a couple, people getting sideways, a couple people bumping into each other. It's just, there's a lot of races going on the track at once as opposed to just waiting for a big wreck.
Yeah, Raymond Murphy says that Southside's always late on coming out with stuff.
I know, that's why I gave him a little heat on that. I said, I know y'all are always last, but you don't have to be. That's y'all's decision. And you've made that decision time after time after time after time, but you can always change that decision. So try to turn over a new foot, and you'd still be last even if you came out something now. So I'm not saying right now, but next time, maybe try to do a little better. And this time, go ahead and put something out because you're already in last place, so you might as well.
Miss Susan Ayers says more action. We need some more action going on.
I don't know what she means, but I don't know if she wants me to shotgun a beer. I'm not doing all that, but I keep on losing my place too. But there was also, like I said, when we were in the hospital, that's where I lost track. Hopefully Southside's people will put out something soon. But when we were in the hospital, baby son was born, all that was cool. Then they wanted to, jerk us around. They wanted to let us out early and then keep us there all night type of thing because of, the COVID stuff. They're trying to keep it pretty empty, and they were actually overbooked because it was like a full moon or something, and that's apparently when people start birthing babies. I don't know how this works. They got booked up real quick, and the next day they were like, hey, y'all want to get out of here early? We're like, that's fine, And so we wanted to do that, and then little man had to get circumcised, and they like, oh, it'll take an hour, hour and a half max. And like 2.5, 3 hours later, they haven't even notified us anything. Like, sitting there cutting man's wiener off, and maximum an hour and a half. 3 hours later, you haven't even notified us. So we had to like call up. They're like, hey, is everything going okay? Like, did you have to sew it back on or something? Like, what's going on?
Like, yeah, is there an update that we can have?
Well, I think they were just, like, oh, he fell asleep afterwards, so we just figured they'd give him their, peace and freedom to rest. We're like, no, we're not resting. You just took our 1-day-old child away for, Like, we're sitting there waiting, like, it's been an hour and a half now, like, where's he at? And then you wait another hour. It's just, that's not the way it works. You have to tell somebody where their 1-day-old child, that kind of pisses us off. So, and not only that, we're waiting to discharge the whole time, but, that's not even really the problem. I don't care about that. I would have stayed there an extra day. It's just, that's a really long time after saying, and not only that, but they said, you need to make sure you feed him every 2 hours. You've had him for fucking 3.5. Okay, by the time you actually brought him back, dang, I hope I didn't just mess up Justice Plant. By the time you actually brought him back, it's like, okay, but anyway, I won't go there. But that pissed me off, but like I said, that gets me fired up, so watch out for the F-bombs. But this is another one. While all that's happening, and like I said, I'm not as pissed off about it now as I was then, but while all this was happening, there was something that really kind of just put a real bad taste in my mouth. So I used to be friends with a guy on Facebook, and he was just a, dirt track racer guy, or just a guy trying to make it through the ranks from up in Delaware. And that's fine. I had respect for him. He, had a decent amount of followers or whatever. But I had lost kind of touch with him, I guess, or whatever, and had recently gotten to Twitter, obviously recently started doing YouTube videos and all this kind of stuff. So I followed him on Twitter just because I remembered him from Facebook. And then he had posted a YouTube link to some of his YouTube videos on Twitter. So I go there, and he does a bunch of, it's a CJ Fasion. I don't know how you say it. Tag him if you want. I don't give a fuck. So I click on some of the YouTube videos he's got on Twitter a couple weeks ago. They're all haunted house, we went into this haunted house and talked to this ghost, all this really clickbaity type stuff, but really well produced. He's got 500,000 views on some of it. It's really dope videos. I don't believe in ghosts, so I didn't literally watch any of them, but I can literally tell from, just the couple seconds I watched, the actual, thumbnail, the way that it's got 500,000 views on a lot of them. He's got thousands and thousands of subscribers on YouTube. On Twitter, once I went back to his Twitter, I realized he's got 33,000 followers on Twitter. This guy's famous, in my opinion. So a lot of people are going to call this some jealousy bullshit, and it is not that. And I'll explain that to you here in a minute too. I got all that explained. So either way, he's pretty much like famous. He's from Delaware, went through the NASCAR circuit kind of. I don't know if he's still doing that or not, but if he's not, I'm sure he's doing fine. He's got a huge YouTube channel, a huge Twitter following. I don't even know what his Instagram is. I'm sure that's bombing too. I mean, not bombing, booming, I should say. Bombing would be a bad thing, but so that's all cool. And I was like, wow, man, this guy's doing really good. Kind of proud of him. Like I said, I don't believe in ghosts. I didn't watch the videos, but I'm like, that's badass. I know a lot of people are into that. So and that's all he was talking about on his Twitter. Check out, do y'all want me to do more ghost videos? I'll do that, blah, blah, blah. This is all cool. I'm down with all this. So then one day while I'm in the hospital waiting on something, I get a notification for Twitter. I don't even get on Twitter much. I have 35 followers or something. I don't care about Twitter. I just got one recently. But I just see headed to go get checked for COVID. Wish I was kidding. Will update you on the results. Fair enough. And, is that a little bit strange? Would I notify people while I was on the way to the hospital? Maybe not, but maybe at his level when he's got his following that he does, maybe you would. Would you maybe write as to why? Maybe not. But maybe. But this is kind of his thing, he kind of cliffhangs people. So I was like, oh shit, and I'm not one of those conspiracy theories people that say that, oh, COVID doesn't exist. Like, I know COVID's out there. So, I mean, it's not one of those situations where I don't think that he, I'm like worried that, oh, he's bullshitting because of that. But let me just keep on going. So I think 2 hours later, maybe even longer, 3 hours later, going live on YouTube in 1 hour, I've got some pretty heartbreaking news. And I'm talking, this is, he's got hundreds of likes, hundreds of comments on this stuff. So I'm like, man, what's this guy doing? Like, why wouldn't he have just said right then what's going on? Why would he go live? So I fell a victim to it. Let me take my happy ass over to live YouTube and watch CJ Fasion. There I see his smiling face talking for 10 minutes accepting donations from all of his fans before he pretty much slips up and says, and so I'm just really worried about my mom and my aunt in these times, and oh, thank you again for the donation, before I've pretty much realized at 8, 9, 10 minute mark, he doesn't have COVID. His aunt does, his mom does, which I'm not belittling that situation. Like I said, it's a very serious thing, and I'm not at all trying to take away, worry for them. He didn't look worried. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you're sitting there watching this guy know that he doesn't have COVID. You learn later that he knew that he was going to get tested because he had been in contact with his aunt and his mom that had already been tested positive. So he could have just said in the original thing, hey, I'm going to get checked for COVID because my mom and aunt have already been tested positive. No, he didn't say that. No, he cliffhung everybody and said, hey, going to get checked for COVID, wish I was joking, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's fine. Then, oh, hey, let me cliffhang everybody. I'm going to go live on YouTube in an hour. Check in there and make sure you donate. He didn't say that part, but once you turn in, that's clearly what it turns into. You know what I mean? It's like, thank you for the donation. Thank you for the donation. He's got a huge smile on his face that his mom and his aunt have corona and that he doesn't. Kind of fucked up in my opinion, but either way, like I said, that's just my opinion.
I think throughout any situation like this, you're always going to see somebody trying to take advantage of it.
Well, I was proud of him, man. I was seriously proud of him because he was just doing his own thing. I kind of took over his dad's, I don't know much about him. I think he took over his dad's auctioning business or something like that up in Delaware. Who knows? I don't give a shit. But so that's all great. It gets worse, Steve. Don't worry. So then after you find out that he just took donations for 10, I turned it off at 10 when he accidentally slipped up and said that his mom and his aunt definitely had it and that he was accepting donations, and I could clearly tell by the video, he did not have it. So anyway, a couple hours later, after he goes live for like an hour or something, very important update, but let's go live for an hour, pretty much do a fucking podcast in his goddamn room. Then he says, who joined the live stream tonight? That's fine. I did, heart. Yeah, we know you did, buddy. You fucking hosted it, you psychopath. Your mom and your aunt got COVID. You decided to cliffhang all your fans into thinking maybe you had it. Then you decided to cliffhang all your fans to tune in on live so you can donate money to me. And then you decided to say, hey, thanks all you donators who joined the live stream tonight. I did. Did you have to say I did? I mean, you're literally a psychopath. I probably seem like a psychopath right now about how mad all this shit made me, but I was just sitting there like, this psychopath motherfucker. I'm in a hospital right now. All these nurses are super concerned about this stuff, and this guy is literally making, in my opinion, fun of it. When his aunt and his mom, bless their soul, hopefully they're okay, but literally are diagnosed with it. He's taking donations and literally cliffhanging people and waiting until 10-15 minute mark to pretty much tell them, oh, update, I don't have COVID. And that was after he said, who tuned into the live stream tonight? I did. A couple hours later, he's like, oh, to recap, I tested negative for COVID-19. My mom and aunt tested positive, though. And he said in the video that he had known that before that was why he went to go get tested in the first place. So I can't count the hours. That's 10 or 11 hours after he made the first post, when he already knew that his mom and aunt had it. This stuff's got me so fired up, pissed off. I'm firing on 0 syllables tonight. But
Settle down now.
I know, son. But you can understand what got me pissed off. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I was like happy for him for like the 2 weeks I was following him before I started this one day of 10 hours. Just like really set me off. I was like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So all I'm saying, dude, is if somebody did tag you, that ain't cool. That ain't the way to do it. I know you've got a lot of followers, and the way you do your thing is whatever, but I can tell you right now, that was a big unfollow for me. And a lot of the guys were like, oh, thanks for giving me a shout-out when I donated. Like, really, dude? This guy just manipulated you into, like this whole thing was set up. He could have just said in the first post, or the second one after he went, yeah, I went because my mom and aunt, were positive. I knew that, so I went to go get checked, and I was negative, so that's all good. But no, he wanted to take, trillions of donations and all this kind of shit. So, like I said, just put such a bad taste in my mouth that obviously I can't even speak words anymore. But
well, Lindsey Wilburn says that you should take a shot because your blood pressure's too high.
it is.
It's getting likes too, so.
Well, hopefully I didn't offend anybody. I was pissed off. He offended me. What do? You don't take advantage if by God.
Well, what about the people?
I hope that his mom and his aunt don't have it.
The protective gear and stuff, and the sanitizer.
Oh, I mean,
people
that's
like that. I mean,
that's just as bad.
You're always gonna have people with like that with hurricanes or any like disaster scenario that they're gonna take advantage of it.
That's a good point. It's very comparable because you're literally just using a pandemic and stuff like that to create wealth or to create followers and all that kind of stuff. So it's very comparable, but it's just like, God forbid, if his mom and his aunt really do have it, I hope they're okay. I don't know if he gives a shit, but...
Does he need money for that?
I can't imagine. That's what I'm saying. He's got a big enough YouTube following and a big enough Twitter following to where I can't even imagine why he'd be taking donations for not a false COVID claim, but a cliff-hung COVID claim because, like I said, he knew why he was going.
Well, I think the sad part is that people are gullible enough to give him money.
Yeah,
for it.
like I said, people are like, oh, thanks for shouting my name. I probably donated you God knows how many dollars. And it's just like, guys, you didn't see right through this? Like, I'm not the smartest guy on planet Earth, I'm a little smarter than your average bear. And I could see right through this shit from the first post. And it's just like, headed to go get checked for COVID. Wish I was kidding. We'll update you soon on the results. Why not just mention why? Or why not, like I said, if I were on the way to the hospital for something like that, I can't imagine logging onto my phone and telling people, hey, stay out for an update. And then once it was time to go for an update, like, hey, I already know the results, but meet me live in an hour and I'll let you know. And then I'll accept all your donations and tell you, nah, I don't have it. My aunt and my mom do, though. They've had it the whole time.
Appreciate it, though.
Yeah. So, that shit's whack, dude. Hopefully he ends up watching this and maybe he'll start some beef. I don't give a shit. But, that dude's a douchebag. What else was I going to talk about? Sorry, I went way deep in the deep end there on that guy. But, like I said, once you have kids, dude, a couple things happen. You feel like you have to not stand up for something, but you don't want to see a bunch of bullshitters all over the place. You don't want to see a world full of bullshitters because that's the world that your kids are going to grow up in. And this all happens quickly. It's not like it was my first child, but it's all very visceral while you're in there and while you're dealing with it and while you're pissed off at the hospital and stuff like that. So while all that's happening, not a good time to try to scam my phone for a COVID donation because your mom and don't have it. But regardless, that happens, and another thing happens. You get really pissed off like that, and your blood boils, and then you think, maybe I'll try to tone it down a little bit when I go live because they might be watching this one day, but that didn't really exactly happen. But it could have gone worse. Trust me, when I was watching it, I was actually more mad than I was just then, but it's just such a shitty way to do business, man. I said this to somebody earlier this week. It's not all about money, and it's definitely not all about followers, dude. So, and it's definitely not a jealousy thing because, like I said, there's another segment I'm going to add to the end of this that I'm not jealous of that dude. I was proud of him. I was glad that he was doing so well just because he was just a NASCAR guy, or I think he raced dirt. I don't know what he raced. He raced a bunch of stuff, dude. He was pretty popular in the racing too, but I was proud of him for kind of switching over and doing his own thing and making that work when racing didn't or whatever, but then he starts doing some stuff like that. It's like, Jesus. I've talked about him too long. He's probably just doing it for the flack.
Yeah, there's some special breed of people, but...
How's everybody else feel about the situation? Is everybody tuning in? Or is everybody just calling me out because of my bad misspoken words?
Ryan Wilborn, Hollywood, says he feels like that. He doesn't even have kids, and pretty much everybody agrees with you because it sounds like it's a scam situation to me. That's what most of them say.
Just the 4 tweets in a row. If you literally I had them screenshot. Just if you read them in a row, you're like, wow, this fucking guy. So either way, that's all about that guy. But that's what happens when you got That's what happens when you don't have producer Tina out in the house. I flip out and go nuts. I might be firing up cigarettes out here in the next 5 minutes. Who knows? We're going rogue. It's man's night out here, boys.
We're all on our own.
And ladies. Hopefully there's some ladies watching, but yeah. And my mouth's very dry. How's the hockey season going?
Oh, it's not.
He's a Washington Capitals fan, so I'm going to try to...
A couple of years ago it was good, but... And, we were looking pretty good until they shut everything down.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they'll have playoffs or anything this year, so they're just probably going to swing right to the next season. Who knows?
Really?
Wow. At this point, yeah.
Well, when does their season normally start and end? I don't think there's many hockey watchers, so...
Is it generally in September, I think, is when their season starts, and, it ends right around now, or about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, so
and then it starts going on to playoffs. Yeah, there was only about 10 or 15 games left in the season when they ended it. So it was coming down the stretch.
Who was in the lead then? Who had the best record? I guess.
Honestly, I don't even know. I think they're always up at top, but it's 6 weeks ago now.
Okay.
No sports, no nothing. We haven't had anything.
Hey, will you do me a favor? Will you check to see if any of the UFC fights are over?
Yeah.
Any results on? I'm mostly concerned with Henry Cejudo and the Dominic Cruz, and then the main card, which is Gaethje and Ferguson, which we were talking about earlier. And I think you bet me $100 that Gaethje would win, and I said, if Ferguson wins, you owe me $200.
To roll the tape back on that.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember. I raged out on that one guy for a while, and I forgot about everything prior to that. So, but yeah, I get nervous. I'm nervous about even, like I said, being kids hearing this kind of stuff one day. But that's the way it goes, folks. You kind of put yourself out there a little bit, and that's kind of what you got to worry about. But that's the way it goes. And here we are. And here that guy is. Maybe he's probably just raking in the dough, still being a douche. So whatever. But I mentioned it earlier, Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell. Shout out to my mom, Susan Ayers. I don't know if she's still watching. She's from Arkansas, Virginia. He's from Arkansas, Virginia, and he had just won right before the fight started. Not right before, because it was right before this started. It was the Donald Cerrone loss versus Anthony Pettis. But
which fight were you wondering?
Dominic Cruz and Henry Cejudo. Is that over yet? That might be still
No,
going on. They always run
no,
behind.
They're definitely running behind.
It's weird,
I think-
man.
I
They don't
think-
have
I
any
think
fans.
It says most of the main cards are still to come.
Okay. Yeah, they don't have any fans there, so it's super weird. Like, seeing just, Joe Rogan's there, and, like, the commentators are there, and the, ringside guys are there. Everybody's got masks on.
There's a total of like 12 people there. They're only allowed to let 10 people
Yeah.
in.
There's more people here. That's what I'm talking about, boys. But, there's 11 people here right now. I'm just kidding. But, it is strange. But I'm proud of them for doing it. Yeah, and like you said, hype for Dana White, even though I gave him some flack a couple weeks ago because I was hoping it would happen then. But he did it, and he got it done. Jakar, I should know more about this fighter. I got intel. Jakar tested positive like a day or two ago for COVID, one of the UFC fighters. So obviously,
One of them going into the event.
yeah. So obviously they had to cancel that fight. And I was like, did they replace him? They're like, no, it's too hard in this climate to get somebody to get them tested, trained. That's way short notice anyway. But people like Donald Cerrone in the past and stuff like that have done it. So there's fighters that will do it, but they said
They normally have like 10 pre-fights anyway. So I
yeah,
know
well
I'm
they do.
exaggerating.
Yeah, they've got a ton. Yeah, a lot of them are on regular TV too. I was watching some of them. I watched the Bryce Mitchell one right before I came out here, but that was just on regular ESPN. But they said that it's too hard to replace him, so that fight was totally canceled. And I think when that happens, I think the guy that was supposed to go up against him just gets his regular pay, but there's obviously no chance of fight of the night bonus or no bonuses or anything like that. But sucks for him.
Well, I mean, I think you still might have a chance at the bonuses if you come in and do work like that. I mean, and
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. The guy that Jakar tested positive for COVID, so the guy that he was gonna fight against, they can't.
he's not fighting at all.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
like, well, you just did all this training camp for 6 weeks, and you paid your coaches and all this kind of stuff. Now we're just gonna, and you traveled out here and took the risk and all this. We can't pay you nothing. So, I think what they do is they just pay him what they would have, but there's no chance for bonus or something. I don't know.
And if he's not one of the top guys, he's not making money like most people think.
Yeah, he's really not as much as all of them should be for how much the UFC makes. But that's just my opinion. I don't know anything about that either.
No, the UFC fighters don't make
Yeah.
anything compared to like boxers and stuff like that. There is no league that
Yeah,
they have
some
to
of them,
be
but
with.
yeah,
I
not
mean,
all of them.
that's boxing is a lot more independent as far as that.
I feel like boxing is also not a richer sport, but like I talked to a lot of like older, classy white men that are like into boxing, but not nearly as many that are into UFC. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, because boxing was looked at as more of an art,
Yeah.
as being able to move and stay on your feet.
And it's been around a lot longer.
I guess they looked at the UFC stuff, especially when the UFC first came out. Though it was savage.
Well, that was literally their tagline was "Fight to the death." So they had to change all that before they could actually get on TV and all that kind of stuff. 'Cause
There was no weight class when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I actually remember as like
Wild.
a 15-year-old kid, probably younger than that. Man, my mom let me rent the UFC. It was like 1 or 2 or something like that. It was way back then. I saw it. I was like, that looks awesome. I was big into wrestling.
Shout out to your mom, dude. That's badass.
She didn't know what it was, dude.
Okay.
No way she knew what it was.
You're just like, here's some money, mom.
She probably
this
thought it was
wrestling
like wrestling or
competition.
something like that, and I was blown away. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, it was like Ken Shamrock when he it was.
You could do
brutal,
soccer
dude.
kicks at the time and
Dude,
shit.
you
Like
could
you
kick
could
'em on the
literally
ground,
literally laying on the ground. You could literally soccer kick him in the head.
Brutal, dude.
Oh, it's brutal now, man. Back then it was super brutal, and that's when how you had like the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, like the Gracie guys. They were fighting in gis. They had straight up gis on.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
kind of like a karate person.
The
You know what I mean?
Gracies dominated it back
Yeah,
then.
but they, like,
that's
had all
what
that
gave
shit on.
them a name, and
Yeah.
and they're just trainers now, most of them.
Yeah, man. They do the Diaz brothers and they do a ton of people. But yeah, they're kind of old now too, though.
Well,
But Hicks and Gracie and all those
There's
guys.
so many Gracies there. There was like 18 of them at one time. I swear. I'm kidding, but there was like
Well, you've probably
there
been
was at
watching a
least
little
3 or
longer than I
4
have.
of them that were like actually big professional,
Mhm.
jujitsu guys.
Yeah, fighters or
Yeah,
whatever you
actual
call it.
fighters.
I guess you just call them jiu-jitsu fighters, but by the time they get to the UFC, it's obviously a fight. But I don't know.
Because for them, I think a lot of their money came from training and stuff.
Yeah, some of the more in-depth fans are probably going to be shitting on us after they hear this. They're like, yeah, dude, I don't know. I can only imagine. But either way, I'm excited to see the main card and the co-main, so to speak. I was going to add one other thing, too. Keep on losing my damn track.
You got your notes out there?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I lost my track on them. But it doesn't matter. We can still talk about, what about, oh, well, you've seen did you watch the podcast where we showed the video of, have you ever seen the movie The Foot Fist Way?
No.
Oh, God. I got to tag you in this, or if you just want to go to the page right now, dude, and watch that video. It's hilarious. It's just, I don't even want to explain it. I meant to get, like, a TV set up. How bad as an idea does this sound like? Steve's new in the studio tonight, so we'll call it. And,
yeah, I'm a novice at this. I'm trying to help.
I am too, and that's what I'm getting at. Is like the way I've got this set up is not the common way. But I was thinking for a while I'd have a TV set up right here and just link it straight to my my laptop, and then whatever I've got going on my laptop, y'all be able to see it. And I tried to do that, but the TV was just so it was just like it was way too big and bulky. It was just stupid. So I didn't go that route, but I'm still trying to think about doing some like OBS software to where I can add in the YouTube videos and stuff like that. But it's just a lot of, once you do that, you have to get an external camera and link it up to the laptop. I don't want to give too data on you guys, but you have to go a little bit farther in depth than we're going right now, which everything's dope right now. I don't have any complaints. I think everything's cool. We should have done can everybody hear me? I usually do that at the beginning. That way people would be like, no, I can't hear you at all at the beginning of the live thing, but I never remember to do that. Whatever.
They're still listening, so I think they can hear you. We got a couple people out there.
Turn it up louder, yeah. But I guess sorry to that one guy that I got real mad at. Hopefully we'll see some NHL. Hopefully, obviously, next week we'll see some NASCAR. Hopefully we'll see some... what other season should it be right now? Should baseball already be back? Baseball should be back.
I think baseball,
and what are they saying about
baseball
football?
Did come back for a little bit, and then they shut it back down. But football, a lot of the mini camps and stuff like that, they've shut down, which would be going on right now. But a lot of rookie mini camps and stuff, so we'll see. Yeah, I know the Redskins have their training camp for Richmond every year, so we'll see what Governor Northam is letting us do at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's one of the harshest in the country as far as the laws that.
Yeah, the quarantine laws.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, did you hear that? Because New York, and Chicago are three of the most stringent quarantine laws, right?
Well, New York and Chicago, I can understand. Those are big cities.
Yeah. And not only that, but I talked about in the last podcast, Virginia is like 67% still Greenland. Like I know we're pretty populated in Hampton and then in Northern Virginia and then in Richmond, but other than that, the rest of Virginia is like wide open, so there's not that many people.
There's a lot of country out here, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need all that. But either way,
it's because he used to be a doctor. That's why.
Oh, really? You probably didn't know this, Steve. 'Cause you don't keep up with as much NASCAR, but the three of the tracks losing NASCAR races this year, and maybe this might be news to some of the fans. Maybe I should have even mentioned it, but 3 of the tracks losing races this year in NASCAR are Chicagoland, Sonoma, which is a road course, which I'm super salty about, probably my favorite road course to watch, and Richmond Richmond Raceway. Now it's not Richmond International Raceway, it's Richmond Raceway. So they lost one of the races, Steve, so I don't know if you knew that, and it was Dave Moody, the NASCAR godfather, I think they call him, the talk show guy, said that it was pretty much, very directly with how stringent they thought the laws would be for hosting something like that in those 3 states. So, I don't know how the California race is going to go. I don't know. What are some of the other stringent states?
When was the Richmond race scheduled?
I don't know. I should know that better, but I don't. Does anybody want to comment and say? I know the Martinsville race is supposed to be this weekend, but nothing's really opened up quite yet, other than some local, short tracks. But
well, no, as far as restaurants and stuff, you can open. They're going to open up, and you can sit outside and stuff like that starting next week. Dentists.
Monday, or what do you mean next weekend?
Next week sometime. Okay. I don't follow the news as closely as I probably should as far as the COVID, because that's all they talk about. I
know. I don't follow the shit at all, even before the COVID. So now I'm having a really tough time, and I don't want to hear anything about it. But I don't want to beat y'all to death over it either. But I'm hoping that probably a lot of the fans here probably don't watch much news either. So maybe we can bro fact y'all with some Corona. Y'all can bro fact back at us in the comment section. I don't know. I forgot to tell y'all to share it too. and share it to some pages. And go like it on YouTube and subscribe. But were you going to say something, Steve? I felt like I was almost about to cut you
I'll
off.
say the volume may be low. We got Ryan chiming in saying the volume's a little low.
Damn it, Ryan. Why didn't you let me know sooner? We're already almost over. That's okay.
Can you turn your volume on?
I can, but I can just sit closer now too. But now, like I said, we're closing up anyway. But we'll let you know next week about the UFC fights. I think aren't they doing a bunch of cards too, like a bunch of weeks in a row? Wasn't that the original plan? I know NASCAR's gonna be back next week too, so I mean we're gonna have plenty
As
to
far
talk
as
about.
the
I guess
UFC
then.
cards, no,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any big main cards. I know that this was a big one that he was trying to get through, and
Yeah.
maybe now that this one's happening, and it probably will move forward with a couple more now, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean they said it was one of the most stacked cards in history, but for some reason a couple weeks ago before they canceled this one, they were saying that like they were gonna do UFC 249, 250, and 251 like all within a month, and it was gonna be like the most, fight heavy period of time that because of quarantine that they were going to do. But I don't know if they've kind of retracted on that, being that it's kind of hard to set up fights and all that kind of stuff now. And like I said when I was watching it earlier, it was a little strange not seeing any fans out there. I mean, it wasn't like WWE when it's really needing the fans because it's UFC and it's a real fight, but it's still just a little bit strange having nobody out there cheering. It's just kind of wild. I don't know. Tell me if any of y'all watch it. Let me know what you think. But
I mean, I feel like for a lot of these guys too, you kind of feed off the crowd and the energy of performing.
yeah,
So
I guess for whoever's
it's
losing,
probably weird for them. It's probably more like a sparring session to them than anything.
yeah, very weird. I guess for whoever's losing or whatever, it might be nice that they can hear their corner a lot better, but still just kind of seems weird to me to be able to just sit there and just fight.
Just
like
the
you
whole
said.
the whole atmosphere, the whole energy would be off.
Even in a sparring session, usually there's like some of the gym members sitting around, listening and chiming in and talking some shit. Now it's like literally it's just like the medics, your one corner, his one corner, and the announcers. And maybe the judges, I guess, but they're not saying anything. The announcers are saying something. I wonder how well they can hear the announcers now. Because normally, the announcers are going off, but, that's just audio through the TV. Like, the fighters can't really hear that, but I bet they can now. I wonder how weird that is.
I wonder if they can hear him when Joe Rogan, freaks out when somebody gets, smacked
Yeah,
in the
that's
face
what I'm
and
saying.
knocked out. It's
That's insane. Like, normally the crowd's way too loud to hear any of that, but we can't on the TV because it's, he's talking into a mic. But when there's nobody there, I bet they can hear that shit, vividly. I mean, I don't know. I never thought about that until just now. That's pretty wild. And I didn't watch enough of it earlier to really think about it.
Joe Rogan does have some great reactions to that.
He does. Have you ever seen the cartoon animated ones?
No.
Oh my god, dude. Right after this is over, I'm going to show you that too. I hate to drag y'all out and say, I got just all these videos to show to Steve. That's not very entertaining to show y'all. But either way, like I said, next week NASCAR will be back. UFC will already have all the fights over, and we'll be able to talk about that. Are there any other sports coming back? NHL, you said they're just going to end it out for the season most likely.
I haven't heard anything. I don't know if the commissioners come out with anything. There hasn't been any big news as far as that. I know the NFL is still planning on a season and everything, and they're probably going to open stuff back up. But it's probably going to be a little while into the summer before they really let any of them guys do anything. Because you're talking 50 to 100 guys, per team, and that's just players and regular personnel.
Yeah. I guess nobody really knows what to do right now.
Definitely weird times.
Try to hang with me for 1 second, because I think the reason I was like, I'm lost in my notes, I can't find something, which is going to be even worse if I do this twice, and then there's definitely not anything. But there was one other thing I was going to talk about that I think was in here. I do this weird thing where I write it down throughout the week in here, and then I transfer it. Don't worry about all that. It's a pain in the ass. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Everybody thought I was going to be jealous that I was just, butthurt about the guy earlier. I did talk about him way too long. That's why I was trying to get into this section and I forgot about it. But as far as the jealousy thing, and I wrote all this back in April, before he did any of this stuff. It was a segment I was eventually going to talk about. It won't take long, but just as far as jealousy in general, even if I were jealous, jealousy isn't always a bad thing. You don't have to consider it as a bad thing. Sometimes it motivates you or strives you to do something better, whether it's somebody you hate doing something, or especially, I guess we were just talking about UFC. If somebody you hate wins a fight or something, I don't know, maybe that's a bad comparison. But just as far as people I'm familiar with, if you're genuinely jealous of them, don't just be a hater and just sit around. If anything, just work harder. You know what I mean? Don't make jealousy be such a negative term. Everyone wants to talk about, oh, he's just a jealous asshole, which people that are usually labeled that are that. So, you know, it's kind of, it goes both ways. But you don't have to, you can be jealous of something and not, you know, I found out a guy that I went to high school with who wasn't doing anything. He got into real estate. He's like literally making, you know, over $500,000 a year. You know? Was I jealous of that? Hell yeah. But there's nothing that, not in a bad way. I wouldn't like, oh, yeah, I wish he wasn't making all that money. That's stupid. That's insane. You don't want to go there. And as far as being jealous of this guy, you know, scamming his fans into doing donations, I hope never would have ever thought that I was going at him because I'm jealous of him and his followers. I mean, he's obviously done a good job and he knows what he's doing, and I'm sure his haunted house videos are very entertaining because they get a lot of views. But jealousy would be the last word that I would use, you know, for somebody like that.
But
so,
that whole situation comes across a little scammy.
It's yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a huge scam. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, don't ever. It's not at all out of jealousy. I'm jealous of plenty of people. He ain't one of them. You know what I'm saying? And the people I am jealous of, I don't try to think of it as a negative thing. You know, you can always just try to turn it into a positive. I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker. I think about it, and sometimes just like, you know, the guy that's making $500,000 a year, yeah, I'm jealous, but not in a way that I'm upset with my life. I got plenty of good things going on. He's got plenty of good things going on. It's all good. I said it before, talking about it in the first time. It's not about money. At least a lot of things aren't about money. It's not about followers. It ain't about any of that. You know, it's all about just being happy and doing the right thing, I think. I mean, that sounds like I'm trying to run for Miss USA, but you know what I'm saying. Don't scam your fans into doing, you know, giving you donations, and try to make money the right way.
Just be good peoples.
Just be good peoples, babies. But we'll close it out with that. I didn't want to go too motivational speaker on you, but yeah, I'm not jealous of that guy. That's for sure. I am jealous of people, but not in a bad way. I'm proud of them, and if I never do get to, you know, aspire to be as wealthy or whatever I'm jealous of them, you know, for, that's fine. I'm doing just fine. You know, I think half the people I'm jealous of might be jealous of me. Who knows? So, catch me next week. Hopefully it'll be at the same time. Might be some adjusting, but we'll try to post earlier. I know I hit you on Saturday today. A little close shot, but you know it was going to happen tonight, and y'all didn't know if I was going to do it. I didn't know if I was going to do it, but I'll try to let you know by Thursday or Friday next week what time and when's it going to be, and whether it's going to be Superhero Steve in the backstage. He did a good job tonight, and what's going to be going down. So I'll let you know. Thanks, everybody, and see you later. Should do some outro music.